welcome back to yet another episode on email writing. In the previous modules, we had learned a lot about email writing. We learned how important is the subject line, what about the main body, what is supposed to be included in the main body, etc. So when we're talking about all these things, let's have a quick recap of what we learned previously. So when we are talking about the email construction in general, the email writing is supposed to have short messages. These messages should be short, simple, and clear. They're often written quickly because it's the fastest means of communication and can be written in response to a question or even a request. They contain only a few lines and they're not bulky messages. They may include informal English and abbreviations, but this is only possible when we talk about informal email writing. So here are a few general instructions. Other than this, we also recall that we had studied about the three categories of emails, that is, broadly, the formal, informal, and semi-formal. Depending on the typology that we are talking about, we decide what kind of body needs to be framed for the same. Let's talk about the email structure. We learned about the subject line, the salutation, the reason why we are writing this email, the main point, and the closure. Each of these has an important role to play. Like the subject line decides whether the person would be opening the email or not. The salutation is how we are greeting the person. Mr., Miss, dear, sir, ma'am, etc. What's the main purpose or the main point, the reason why we are writing this email? All my WH questions have to be answered in terms of what, why, when, where, and how. Most importantly, we come to the closing, which is acting as the culmination of the entire email. We have to make sure when we are talking about the culmination, we are talking about closing the email there. Let's study them a little deeper. What do you understand by the subject line? Your subject line is your first impression on the users. Reading your subject line, the user or the reader would decide whether he or she wants to go ahead reading and opening the email or not. In many ways, your email subject line is more important than your email body. It generates curiosity about the body of the email. What is there in the email? Hurry, last few hours left. Now here, when we are talking about these kind of intriguing subject lines, the chances of the reader opening the email increase. It increases the email being read. Mostly, this kind of subject lines are used by the marketing team. It creates a kind of curiosity about what is going to be there inside the email. We also have to make sure that we are setting a tone for our email through the subject line. And it's like a sneak peek into our email. When we are talking about the nature of an email as a whole, we see that the subject line is divided into 6 broad categories, which are 1. No fuss subject lines. We don't have to create any kind of confusion or fuss here. Funny subject lines, wherein we add a little bit of humor. But again, this is more in the semi-formal and informal tone, or where we have had multiple conversations over email. Shocking subject lines, where we create a kind of urgency in the mind of the readers. Single word subject lines, urgent, required, etc. So here, a single word conveys the entire thought. Subject lines with numbers and lists, wherein we are talking about detailed, precise information, what we are conveying. Personalized subject lines, wherein we are writing more in an email, in an informal fashion. Let's read them in detail. First comes out to be the no fuss subject line. Here, we have to make sure that we are writing or conveying our message clearly without creating any kind of confusion. They're most liked by the recipients because they understand just by reading the subject line what is it that the mail wants to convey. And these are usually used for notifications when we are trying to notify the readers about something through that email. Most of these subject lines involve updates, notifications, or something that are connected to the user's social media activity or status. For example, your print order is being processed. Your delivery is expected by, and then we are mentioning a date there. These emails have a specific purpose, and the subject line fulfills the same. Next comes up to be my funny subject line. Adding humor to your content is required when you are talking about the informal or the semi-formal setting. Here, it has the chance of sticking out amongst the dry subject lines. It is wherein we are driving the curiosity of the person to open it. Defense against the dark arts, ESAP. Do gamers dream of HTML5 sheep? So here are things wherein we are asking questions, or we are asking stuff which make it funny. It may not be like an exact joke that you have to crack there, but please make sure that the humor quotient remains intact. A well-placed joke can get your email opened and can earn you major reputation points. Now, the joke doesn't have to be lengthy and bulky, short and crisp. Like, please touch me, enterprise delight via multi-touch. So these are the places where you have to identify where humor or fun quotient can be added. The next comes out to be my shocking subject lines. When I'm talking about my shocking subject lines, that is when I'm talking about grabbing the user's attention, hooking them to that crux of my email through that subject line. It requires you to treat very carefully. So here, when I'm talking about reading this kind of a subject line, it creates a kind of impact in my mind after reading it. This strategy requires you to be confident in your understanding of the audience tastes and perceptions. Everyone is gay. Social media as social action. Why your 5-year-old is more digital than most CMOs. Your marketing sucks. Why you need to think local. Here are things where we bring to light a concept which people have never ever thought of. That is where we're bringing in a kind of shock here. Single word subject lines. When we're talking about single words, these are those words which convey multiple thoughts. And it is a strategy which is mostly used so that these people can extract and attract most customers and attention. Its length and shape stand out from the other largely similar looking structures. For example, panic. A single word, many people are attached to it not just emotionally, but also psychologically. What should I be panicking about? Am I in danger? Is it that my accounts are in danger? My social media handles, my bank account, etc.? Am I having an existential crisis? Emotionally walloping words make a big impression. So here, when I'm talking about this strategy, it is involving going ultra minimalistic. That means minimum usage of word, which is use of one word. And it makes you stand out of the sea of one-liners. The next comes out to be subject lines with numbers and lists. When I'm talking about numbers and lists, that is where usually I use my hashtags, I use my numbers in terms of date, in terms of time, in terms of quantifiers. Here, many of the factors that make up a good blog post title are also used as your subject liners for the email. Incorporating numbers into your subject line, it actually helps in attracting the attention of all the brains that are going to read it, and it simply draws it towards that digit. Last 7 hours sale left. Grab 50% off now. Or 7 annoying Twitter moments, hashtag Oscar 2017. So here, when we are talking about the top 10 list, or we're talking about the list of the best brands, top 10 brands, etc. So when we are talking about numbers, incorporating numbers in your subject line, it actually attracts the attention. And this trend, when we are talking about, goes up to the number only, because people are more fascinated by number. And here, it generates a kind of curiosity into their mind. What next? It's easy to read and The promises are also lucrative there. The next that comes up here is my personalized subject lines. More personalized means more related to you. It's another way to increase the number of people or the number of readers opening your email. You have to try and be very specific in terms of the language and the audience that you're targeting. Why? Because they need to relate to that email. It should not be that they're not related to that email. It's a good practice to understand your audience well enough to know what kind of a language are you going to use for them, what kind of a style, etc. The more attractive it is to them, the better chances are that they're going to open it. 9 underrated Boston burgers. Now here, that does show that here people living in Boston have to be targeted. Otherwise, people in India would not be interested in knowing about this. Top 10 strategies to move up the ladder and become a CEO. So here, only a person in the organization who wants to become a CEO can opt reading for it. A person who's self-employed is already a CEO, is already an entrepreneur. So here, we have to make sure that we have analyzed the target audience correctly. The next example is 12 things you didn't know about guineas. So here, when we are talking about all these things, you have to make sure that you are targeting the right audience. The best practices to follow. This is very important because when we're talking about a good email subject line, there are a few things that have to be followed, like write multiple subject lines and then select the best one amongst them. Keep it under 50 characters. Here we're not talking about words, we're talking about individual characters, where even your punctuation marks play an important role. Add alliteration. Be alliterative so that people get to understand this. And it also becomes a kind of rhyming. More caps does not mean more opens. Do not make your entire subject line go in all block letters. Know your audience. That's the most important thing. Otherwise, you will not be able to capture their attention. Pay attention to your tone as well. Why? When we're talking about tone, that is where how the reader is going to perceive the message. How is it that the reader will understand what you're trying to share or show is more important. Focus on call to action. Make sure that whatever your subject line is talking about gives you or reaps you required results. Pay attention to the preview as well, because that is how it's going to be previewed at the reader's end. And once you understand how it's going to be previewed at the reader's end, you have a better option to note and make required changes. Next, we're going to talk about the salutations. When we're talking about salutations, these are generally the gestures or utterances made as a greeting, like dear sir, dear ma'am, Mr. XYZ, so on and so forth. It is important to establish a relationship with the recipient, and it is important to break the ice here. Otherwise, you will have a kind of formal relationship throughout. It sets the tone of your email. You get to know whom are you talking to, what's the stature of the other person, what kind of a dignity you have to maintain. It also gives you a glimpse into your email etiquettes. Once I'm not addressing the person nicely, the person will not be able to, read through my entire email because he or she would be stuck to the introduction or the salutation itself. It determines the type of your letter that you are sending, whether that's a formal letter, informal letter, or semi-formal letter. Here, letter means email. When we are asking about all these questions that relate to salutations, the best question that comes up is how do we choose salutations? So here you need to ask yourself a few questions before you choose the right salutation for the email. Whether it has to be dear, or it has to be sir, or it has to be ma'am, or it has to be the first name, or it has to be the last name. So the first question is, what is the nature of your relationship with the recipient? If you have a formal relationship, that is where you'd be using more of a formal salutation, maybe sir or ma'am, maybe the last name or the first name of the person. The first name is avoided in the formal setting because we are talking about first name only in the informal setting. If you've never met the recipient before, you should always use the formal email salutation. Dear Mr. Gupta, Dear Miss Gupta, etc. If you have a friendly personal relationship with the recipient, you can afford to use a more casual greeting. Hi, so-and-so, the name of the person. If you have informal relationship, wherein you can simply write the person's name. What is the recipient's perspective or context? Do you think the person is always perceiving things in the negative fashion? That is where it becomes all the more important for you that you make a proper framing, or you frame a proper salutation. What is the goal or the subject matter of the email? You want to crack the deal, make it more formal, but informative. With this, let's put this session to a pause, and we'll be right back with more such interesting sessions. Thank you so much. Stay tuned.